Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Oh, my Lanta. I never say that, but it just came out. Happy freaking 2022. For some reason today, I keep wanting to say 2021, and I don't know why, because I have not struggled with that at all until today. For some reason, it's seeming foreign, but I'm very ready for 2022, so I don't know why I keep messing it up. But anyways, Happy New Year's. I'm super excited for this new year. It's actually New Year's Eve right now. But obviously when you guys listen to this, it's going to have been the New Year's already have passed. I kind of feel like a fraud though, because also in my most recent vlog, it's actually going to go live the day after this goes live. Same thing. I was like, Happy New Year. But like, I knew it wasn't New Year yet when I was filming it. But like, by the time you guys thought it was going to be the New Year, and it was like my first video of the New Year. So like, you know, just little BTS insider info right there for you guys. But I don't know, it just feels so good to be able to like ring in this new year, especially with you guys, and just like knowing that like this is what I'm doing for my job. It's just like, I'm just so beyond excited to be able to like go through a year, like start to finish with you guys. And like, I'm excited to just like see where we're going to go this year and just like start fresh with you guys, because I feel like in previous years, like that would be my goal. Like, I don't know, is this the year that like I'm going to gain traction with Livfiit? Like, I don't know. And like last year was that year. And like now I'm finally able to like have this be my main focus. And so I'm just really excited to see like what we're going to get into this year, like having a whole year start to finish, having this be my only main focus. So like it's super exciting stuff, you guys. And I'm just amped. And I'm also really excited about this episode today too. So like I'm also amped for that reason as well. And it's New Year's Eve. So like that could also play really big. I don't know. It's just crazy. Okay, anyways, I need to rein it in. So, gratitude. That was not English. I said I need to rein it in. Gratitude, of course, as we always start with. I'm actually thankful because we've gotten so much freaking snow here in Utah. Like, it has not stopped snowing, honestly, for like the past 1 to 2 weeks. I'm not even kidding. But I'm thankful today that I've actually been able to experience all 4 seasons and snow, because it's crazy to think, like I saw a video actually not too long ago of someone who like had never seen snow before, and it was like their dream, and they were like, you know, trying to catch it on their tongue. And I was watching like, wow. Because like I just can't believe that like it's their dream to see snow, when like for me it's like I dread it sometimes. So I don't know, I just think it's wild. And as much as I want to experience like coastal living and all that stuff, I still am very thankful that I've been able to experience the diversity that comes with the seasons. Because honestly, side note, I'm not going to go too far into a deep rant on this, but I just feel like the seasons of life symbolize so much and stand for so many life lessons. So like I just like feel humbled that I've been able to like go through the actual different seasons of life, and I just always want to be rich in as many experiences as possible. And like being able to experience the leaves changing and snowfall, like even those things seem like little and minutia details, I'm like so thankful that I have experienced them, because they're so foundational to like life. So that's my gratitude for today. So diving into the episode, this one is an amazing one, and I know I say that a lot, but I'm really excited for this. For the outline, you guys, I literally filled 3 pages. So like this wasn't even an outline anymore. This turned out to me just already like filming the show, but just like in writing form, I guess. So that's that, but I just was on one. But I just am amped about this because it's changed so much for me, and I feel like this is a great one to like kickstart 2022 on as well, because everyone's like setting goals, you know, right now, of course, like New Year's resolutions, and like everyone has goals that they want to achieve and all that good stuff. And I'm telling you, like this principle and concept like completely changed my life. And it's basically just like a whole new angle to approach goals, and it's genuinely just incredible. So this can be applied to goal setting like in every aspect, like in regards to fitness and career goals, personal goals, like literally in any of it. And this has not only helped me to like see results, but it's also really helped me in like de-stressing the process of actually attaining those results. So I'm telling you, it's just amazing. So everyone, please listen up. You're not going to want to miss this. So I know the title of this episode probably makes like little to no sense. It's Practice Good Medicine, but let me explain. So my father has accomplished a very successful career in the field of medicine. That's the industry that he's in. So I always try to like obviously learn from him when I can. And I just obviously I also like to ask questions anyways. Like I'm a thinker in case you guys like haven't gotten that far yet. So I like to ask him questions and stuff. So basically I asked him one day like what helped him achieve his goals. Like was there one thing that really helped keep him on track? Like, and was he ever nervous that he wouldn't achieve that level of success and all that sort of thing? And what he said to me like completely has stuck with me since. And he said he always said to himself, like when he got nervous or anxious or like he wasn't sure of the unknown, he always just said to himself, just practice good medicine and the rest will take care of itself. And now that little saying just like constantly runs through my mind, like just practice good medicine. And he's basically saying just focus on the input, on your process, on your actual work that you're doing, as opposed to like the worrying, the focusing, and putting all of your intention and energy into the outcome or the output. And the reason why this is so profound to me because is if you actually think about it, like, and you like think about the last time you had to go set a goal. How many times do you go to check to see if you actually have achieved that goal? Like someone starts to go to the gym for 2 weeks, checks to see if their butt grew, checks to see if they have abs yet. People have like a savings goal, right? They will constantly keep checking their bank account to like watch the number creep up and up and up and up. And the issue with this is that you're placing all of your energy onto the output of what you're trying to do, but yet how is that supposed to ever come into fruition without the actual input itself? Meaning the most important thing when it comes to achieving the goals you have set for yourself is the work and action you're actually putting in order to arrive at those goals. It's like a car. Like, how would you expect to arrive at your destination if you're too busy checking to see if you're even there yet when you haven't even been pushing on the gas pedal or driving with intention to make sure you're actually taking like the most efficient route or having the awareness to drive strategically, like if you're so dead set focused on the destination. And so like the weird like paradox of it all is like if you place too much attention in the actual attainment of the goal itself, like it ironically will hinder your ability and efficiency in the action that it takes to get there. Like, you know, the saying like energy goes where attention flows. Like it's backwards. It's like you're kind of like beating you're just like looking at the wrong thing. Like you're focusing on so much in the actual output of it that you haven't even put the ingredients in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, so am I saying to just like set a goal and then just like not ever think about it again and like expect it to come into fruition? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is to shift your focus to think about the right thing and to focus on the right thing. Shift your focus onto what it takes to achieve that goal that you've set for yourself. Focus on the actual action steps that it takes to get there. And I touched on this a little bit in the last episode, but basically it's like echoing all the same principles of process goals, which like I said, I did touch on last episode when I was speaking about forming goals and all that sort of stuff. So it's really all about setting those action step goals that are required for you to hit in order for you to achieve the goal. And the reason why process goals and focusing on the input itself is so damn freaking effective, you guys, is because if you're checking off those boxes, this is the thing that like changed my whole perspective on like what made it click to make sense. Like if you're actually focusing on checking off all of those boxes, you will inevitably arrive at that goal. Like, it's like if you're baking with a recipe, like someone hands you a recipe, if you're focused on hitting each little step, each mini goal, adding in the right amount of flour, measuring out the right amount of sugar, doing all the steps at the right time and checked off each box, like you are bound to end up with a cake at the end of the process. You know what I mean? Whereas if you were so focused on the end result of somehow having a baked cake arrive at your hands, but you didn't have the recipe in place, like how would you expect to get that cake? And like I said, this approach not only will help you arrive and like actually achieve your goal, but it also helps like tremendously tenfold to actually de-stress yourself in the process. And this is something that I also feel super passionate about, like in my personal approach of how I achieve the goals that I have. Like I think this is so and like such an underrated key when it comes to actually like having success when it comes to achieving your goals, because you guys know how big I am on authenticity and like genuine creation, and I just wholeheartedly believe that we hands down create our absolute best work when we are in our flow state. And flow state, I feel like I kind of have been touching on it, but I haven't like elaborated on it. And the first time I heard it, I kind of like didn't really know what it meant. But your flow state is just like when you are in your freaking zone. Like your flow state is when at your work just feels effortless. Like it's like your soul is just expressing itself through your creation, and where things just feel easy. Like it's just like your soul is just dancing. Like you lose track of time. Like everything is just flowing out of you. Like anything that's like that like you can't see with the human eye starts to take tangible form. That's like your flow state is how I describe it. And like, because sometimes for example, like I'll create something and I literally will almost like black out. Like I'll do something and then I literally like just kind of black out. I didn't even think about what I was doing it, and I look back and I'm like, whoa, I just didn't even think about that, and somehow that just like formed into what it is. And it's not like in an unintentional way where I say that I don't need to think about what I'm doing. It's just more in a way of like where like I'm speaking my own language, where like it just was second nature. Like I didn't even need to try hard to get it to come into fruition. Like it just flowed from me. Because I find when I overthink things and analyze what I'm creating and like thinking into it too much, that's when, and like not from a place of like artistic critical thinking, like from a place of me just criticizing myself and like overthinking and kind of like being like, oh, how is this going to be perceived? I find that like that's when I know I'm not in my flow state, because that's when I'm stuck in my mind and I'm stuck in my ego, and that things just like aren't flowing and it seems like I'm like forcing things. That's kind of an example of like when I feel like I'm in my flow state and when I don't feel like I am. But so anyways, I'm just trying to say like the trust that comes with being able to focus on the input, because you know that the output is inevitable as a result. It takes so much of the stress and the anxiety away from the actual creation process, and it frees you to just actually create your best work. And I just feel like that's the key, because all the time, like that constant like stress and all that sort of stuff like kind of cripples you, makes you feel suffocated. And like whether we consciously or subconsciously realize it, like it does show up in our work, whether like physically we can see it or energetically. Like that's how we're embedding into our work. And so I'm not saying like it's going to necessarily like free you from the pressure of things per se, but like being able to have that like trust and faith in the heat of like that pressure and like the potential timeline you may be dealing with. I'm just saying like it gives you the space to just like do your thing and like keep working through it. So I just think this concept really helps to alleviate the constant questioning of like the if I achieved it yet, to allow you to like just like pour your energy into the actual work itself, which obviously and like inevitably is going to increase the value and the quality of what you're actually doing. And it's just like kind of baffled, like when I sit here and say it, like it almost seems so stupidly and like painstakingly obvious, like okay, duh, but like so many people struggle with it, you know what I mean? Like I don't know why we are the way we are. It's like, okay, this is our goal, and then we just are like expecting to like go pick up that shiny object, like, oh, let me hand it to me, let me go grab it, when it's like it's not. You're expecting something to be there without you even like putting the parts together to build it. Like how do you expect that to come into fruition without like moving backwards and having all the building blocks to make it into something? It's like, how do you want the house without the bricks? Do you know what I mean? It's like, it just like, it seems so obvious when you say it, because it's just like looking at it, like you just need to like, once you switch your perspective, you're able to see things that you weren't able to see before. But it really just is that freaking simple. Like when you're so focused on actually being able to check off that checkbox or achieving that goal or getting that car or whatever, or having that certain number in your bank account or whatever, it's like you aren't even creating good quality work to ensure that you're like receiving the benefit and the results that would come to achieve that goal. You know what I mean? Like it's like when you're so focused on that, then it inevitably is going to pull intention and energy away from creating an actual high quality product or doing a high quality job or making something different and unique that's going to perform really well, when that's what you actually need in order to have the benefits that you want to come with it, that the goal you want to have to come with it. Like you won't be able to achieve that goal if you don't have anything to show for it that allowed you to get there. And concentrating on that goal is what's inhibiting you and impairing you from actually making sure you're creating the quality work up front, which will inevitably have that result, that goal achievement come to follow. So I, of course, have some examples because, like I said, I want to show like how much this applies to like every single genuine aspect in life, and why I was so excited to share this episode with you guys, because these 3 examples that I have are in terms of fitness, career, and then also like an example in personal life. They're just all so powerful in their own way. So I've kind of touched on this, especially if you're from my YouTube family. This is definitely where I've touched on my like weight loss journey the most often, I guess, or like the most in depth. So I had been, like I said, quick mini background, I'd always been rather thin growing up. My main fitness goal was always to gain weight, gain curves, gain muscle. Then around sophomore year of college, I ended up, like, because I went through pretty hefty bulks, I thought I was pretty uncomfortable with my size, whatever. Nevertheless, I wanted to lose weight for whatever reason. But regardless, I struggled for like a year and a half. I could not, because also I didn't really know how to do it. I still was learning, because I always was learning previously how to gain weight. I never like thought to know how to lose weight, because it never was a goal of mine. And I would try and freaking try to lose weight, and it would never freaking work. It just would. I struggled so much, which is a story for a different day, which I have touched on my YouTube channel. But summer of 2020, I officially was kind of like, no, like, we're going to do this. This is what's going to happen. Like, you're going to transform your body. And I finally put into place process goals for the first time, as opposed to like setting necessarily like a numerical goal weight. And this is what I mean. For example, like process goals is like the input, right? Focusing on what you're doing to get there. And that numerical goal weight was kind of representing like the output. So in previous years, like I was always so focused on that output, right? The end goal of the numerical weight loss number. And when I had that, I would constantly be checking the scale, looking in the mirror, etc., just seeing if I had achieved that goal. That it was, of course, taking away from how I was actually showing up and the quality of work that I was putting in on the input end, on the end that actually really truly mattered, that was like in the hands of my control. But the kicker is when I actually set process goals, right? So like a daily step goal, a daily water intake, a workout goal, a nutrition intention, all of those things I was able to like check, if you will, if I had achieved those things, but daily. So it was much more manageable, because basically I could just check to see if I did them or not. And the thing is that this allowed me to actually focus on my process and the action steps. Like I've been saying, I feel like I've been repeating myself, and it gave me the satisfaction of like being able to like check off those goals, those mini goals that I had in place, without placing and giving all of my energy away to the overall big goal. Like I took my energy back and I placed it into what actually mattered. And the beautiful thing is, like, I, of course, as you would think, I inevitably ended up hitting that big goal, because I was able to focus my attention down and collect my energy into checking off those little goals, which, like I said, inevitably led me at the end of the day to being able to check off that big goal, because it's just like the recipe with the cake. It's inevitable. Once you are following those steps, you inevitably are going to end up with a cake. It's the same thing with those process goals. When I was trying to lose weight, I was like, okay, if I just stick to these things every day or whatever and focus on the small details and don't get so caught up on the big picture and getting overwhelmed and having too many things getting lost in all of the days that it takes to accumulate success to that big goal, I was like, if I just hit these things, I inevitably should theoretically hit that fat loss goal, right? So that's what I kind of realized. And it finally worked for me, because it allowed me to actually focus on the things that I could control and on the things that mattered, to make sure that I was putting in quality work, which will inevitably, like I'm saying, will result in high quality results. And it's just crazy, because like I said, I struggled. Like it blows my mind, because like I struggled so much. And when I shifted my perspective to look at it this way and chose this angle, like everything genuinely seemed so easy to me. Like just by shifting my perspective to the inputs and like the process goals, like it completely changed the whole experience for me. And after that, I was like, okay, wait, that was like actually kind of easy. And the next example that I have was like the same thing with this platform. And again, I always feel weird talking about the numbers, but like I feel like that's just like naive of me and like not authentic not naive. I don't know what the word is. Ignorant? I don't know, just be kind of like ignoring the obvious, or like it just wouldn't be authentic for me to share. Like obviously, like I know it's not about the numbers and all that sort of stuff on social media, but for me it always stood for like the impact that I would have, and kind of more so like the business aspect of this brand that I always wanted. And like it's just true, like I used to be way more numbers focused. I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't, because it's just true. So same thing, like I was always so concentrated on like the follower count, etc., or like working with brands, all that sort of stuff. And always led me nowhere because I was constantly focused on the results. How is this being perceived? What are people thinking of my content? Are people liking this? Do brands want to work with me? Am I growing? All of those sort of things. Like, it took all of my energy, and then I wasn't even putting any of my intention or focus or energy into what I was actually creating to actually create like a valuable product to have people come and want to actually hear what I'm trying to say, and then inevitably create more of that like platform that I wanted to build on the back end of things. But I didn't realize, I kept missing the point that like what comes first is the work that you're actually creating, and not focusing on the work that you're creating is cutting yourself short and is cutting corners and is kind of minimizing and decreasing the fuel that you have to light your own fire because you're using it elsewhere. You know what I mean? It's kind of like putting a hole in your own tank type situation. But until I changed my perspective and just focus, like my dad said, focusing on practicing good medicine, focusing on just creating good content, doing a good job with my work, creating high value content, like I'm just performing well, doing a good job, and putting pure like love, intention, and purpose into the content I was creating, which charged my work with those things in the most beautiful way. That's what made them come out so much better and hold so much more value. And so I focused on how I showed up rather than how I was being perceived. And I just feel like that right there is the mini golden ticket that holds so much freaking power that's so overlooked. And all of this allowed me to put my attention towards the right thing. And then the beauty of it all is that the rest will just completely take care of itself. And my third example that I have here is because it's the same thing like if you want to be a better friend, if that's your goal, right? If you just say it, it's like, okay, cool, that's great, but how do you plan to do that? How is that going to happen? How are you going to make it happen? But if you set the intention, like the process goals, to actually call your friends once a week, offer to help them to do things, etc., that's when you'll inevitably make strides towards that goal, because you're essentially you've built and written a map for you to know how to get there. It's the same thing, I guess, with all these metaphors that I've been using. Like if you want to drive from here to California, if you have no map, what are you going to do? Just try to go figure it out? Like, yes, you might be able to still arrive at California, but what's the quality of the drive? Overall, my main point that I'm trying to drive home today is just prioritizing the input rather than the output for me, and focusing on the quality of my work and that true, genuine, honest, authentic effort that I'm putting into my creations by practicing good medicine, like my dad always says, has genuinely completely changed my life in every single aspect. Like I touched on with those examples, I use it in all different areas of my life in terms of just like, you know, the direction that I want to move in as a human being, no matter what it is in life. And I just really hope that this is impactful for you guys as it is for me, because I'm telling you, it's kind of like the new backbone to how I approach life. Like if I feel uncertain about things or anything like that, I just will say practice good medicine, because like I said too, how it also helps to de-stress me and gives me trust and faith in the situation. Like focus on what I can control, what I am doing, the work I'm creating, what my input is, you know, what I'm personally doing. Because kind of almost at the end of the day, the output is a little bit kind of out of your hands if you think about it. But what you can control is your input and the work that you put in, your intention that you go into it with, the energy that you embed into your work, etc. So I really hope you guys try to apply this into your life. It has absolutely life-changing for me. And so the affirmation that I have for you guys today to help you, like, I don't know, kind of step into this headspace, if you will, and this perspective and this angle and approach is, it says, I focus on the input rather than the output, and trust the process. I focus on the input rather than the output, and trust the process. 12:22 on my clock, about to move into 2022. This is crazy, you guys. I love you guys so much. As I'm just ending the episode, that was the time on the clock. So thank you guys so much for watching. Or listening. Sorry, sometimes I forget what platform I'm on. This is podcast, but also I guess if you're watching on YouTube, hello web show familia. But I'm just super excited for this coming year. I still have a lot of things that I kind of want to iron out in terms of like clarifying goals and stuff, and honing in on a few different things to really like, you know, laser in what my focus is and what my direction is for this year. But like I said, I'm really excited to see where we go, what we achieve, what we accomplish, where this podcast goes. This is something I also want to clarify. Like I'm saying, I kind of want to clarify my goals when it comes to this podcast as well, but we'll see what's in store. This is crazy because just in a matter of 12 months, I'll be sitting in the seat, probably doing the same thing on New Year's Eve, filming another podcast, recording another podcast, but I guess we shall see. So with all the love in my heart, thank you so much for watching or for listening. I'm sending you guys so much love, like I said, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, baby. Happy New Year.